$900 billion. That's the number that bought football's future. It sits in the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, a sovereign wealth fund larger than the entire economy of most nations. In June 2023, that fund took a 75% ownership stake in 4 clubs: Al-Nassr, Al-Hilal, Al-Ittihad, and Al-Ahli. It appointed 5 of every 7 board members. And it bought one man, Cristiano Ronaldo. By 2026, Forbes would peg his earnings at $300 million, $235 million from his playing contract alone, plus $65 million in endorsements. That made him the highest-paid athlete on earth for the 3rd straight year. By October 2025, Bloomberg declared him football's first billionaire at $1.4 billion. Yet Al-Nassr has never disclosed a single financial term of his contract. The spending didn't stop with him. Deloitte found Saudi clubs spent $957 million in a single transfer window. $312 million of that went straight to Premier League clubs. Fulham and Liverpool took 100% of their transfer receipts from Saudi buyers. So what did the $900 billion fund actually buy? The answer is stranger than you think, and it reveals exactly how power works when money has no limits. June 2023. The Public Investment Fund takes 75% of Al-Nassr, Al-Hilal, Al-Ittihad, and Al-Ahli. 5 of every 7 board members now answer to Riyadh. A sovereign wealth fund, built on oil, worth $900 billion, buys football clubs. Why oil reserves don't last forever? The kingdom knows this. For decades, the world paid for Saudi crude. But the energy transition is real, so the fund pivots. It buys stakes in Uber, in entertainment, in luxury resorts. And then it buys football, not just any football. 5 of every 7 board seats. That means the PIF doesn't just own the clubs, it is the clubs. Strategy, transfers, commercial deals all flow through Riyadh now. But here's the twist. Al-Nassr has never disclosed a single financial term of Cristiano Ronaldo's contract. Not one number. The world's highest-paid athlete, and his salary is a state secret. Why the silence? Because ownership isn't just about control, it's about leverage. When a sovereign fund with assets estimated at $900 billion takes the helm, the rules change. You don't negotiate player wages in public. You don't reveal how much you're willing to spend. You let the market guess, and the market did guess. Deloitte counted nearly $1 billion flowing out of Saudi clubs in a single transfer window. 312 million of that went straight to Premier League teams. Fulham and Liverpool took every penny they could get. The message was clear. Saudi money buys anything it wants, but control has a cost. When 5 of 7 board members answer to one master, dissent vanishes. So does transparency. The clubs become instruments of a larger ambition, one that doesn't fit neatly into a balance sheet. So what did they do first with that power? Subscribe to see how money reshapes global sports. How did Ronaldo become the highest-paid athlete on earth? The answer is a secret. Al-Nassr has never disclosed a single financial term of his contract. Not the base salary, not the bonuses, not the image rights, nothing. Yet Forbes projects his 2026 earnings at a staggering sum, the bulk from his playing contract alone. That makes him the highest-paid athlete on earth for the 3rd straight year. Bloomberg declared him football's first billionaire. But the numbers are invisible. The only thing visible is the effect. Picture this, a 38-year-old forward, past his prime signs with a club that months earlier was owned by a prince. Now it's owned by a fund with assets estimated at $900 billion. That fund doesn't need a return on the pitch, it needs a return on attention. Ronaldo's contract isn't a salary. The numbers are staggering. In a single transfer window, Saudi clubs spent $957 million. That is enough to buy a fleet of private jets for every club in the league. But where did it all go? $312 million flowed straight to Premier League clubs. Fulham and Liverpool took every single dollar of their transfer receipts from Saudi buyers. Therefore, the money didn't just leave England, it was a direct injection into the English game. Yet the Saudi clubs themselves, they bought players past their prime, stars chasing one last paycheck. The strategy was clear: spend big, fast, and without hesitation. But the consequences are only now becoming visible. The Premier League clubs use that cash to reinvest, to strengthen their squads, to widen the gap. Saudi clubs, meanwhile, are left with aging rosters and no clear path to sustainability. The fund's $900 billion war chest can keep the spending spree alive for years. But the question remains: which clubs benefited the most and why? Picture this: a Premier League club's transfer window. Fulham's board sits around a table. They have a player they want to sell. Normally they'd haggle with a rival English side or a European giant. But now, a Saudi club calls. The offer is clean. No installments, no add-ons. Fulham takes every single pound. They turn a profit without strengthening a direct competitor. Liverpool does the same. Both clubs took 100% of their transfer receipts from Saudi buyers. That's not a coincidence. It's a strategy. The Public Investment Fund controls $900 billion in assets. That's a fortune large enough to reshape an entire sport. In a single transfer window, Saudi clubs spent $957 million. Of that, $312 million flowed directly into Premier League coffers. Fulham and Liverpool didn't sell to traditional leagues. They sold to a sovereign wealth fund. Therefore, they avoided the usual trade-offs, losing a star to a rival, or accepting a lowball offer from a cash-strapped club. Instead, they cashed out clean. But here's the hidden cost. Every dollar from Riyadh comes with a string attached. The more Premier League clubs depend on Saudi money, the more leverage the fund gains. What happens? Bloomberg declared him football's first billionaire in October 2025, a milestone. Yet Al-Nassr has never disclosed a single financial term of his contract. The numbers remain unverified. Therefore, the claim rests on estimates, not ledgers. Forbes put his 2026 earnings at a fortune that makes him the highest-paid athlete on Earth for the third straight year. But without transparency, the figure is a headline, not a fact. The Public Investment Fund controls the club. It appoints 5 of every 7 board members. It holds the keys to the books. So when the fund says Ronaldo is worth $1 billion, you have to ask, who is counting? The sport has never seen money like this. A single transfer window saw Saudi clubs spend nearly $1 billion. $300 million of that flowed straight to Premier League clubs. Fulham and Liverpool took every penny of their transfer receipts from Saudi buyers. The market bends. The question is not whether Ronaldo is a billionaire. It is whether football can still call its own shots when a sovereign fund owns the game. What's next for the sport when money talks this loud? So what did the $900 billion fund actually buy? A seat at the table, but a seat that comes with a price tag no one will disclose. Because the real product isn't football, it's attention. And attention once bought must be constantly repurchased. The numbers are staggering. $957 million in one window, $312 million to Premier League clubs. Fulham and Liverpool took every penny from Saudi buyers. Yet Al-Nassr has never revealed a single term of Ronaldo's contract. Why? Because the deal isn't about football, it's about a story. The lesson is brutal. You can buy the players, you can buy the league, you can buy the headlines, but you cannot buy the past, and the past is what fans remember. The empire built on oil money now faces a flaw. Money can't erase memory. Every goal scored is a reminder of what was traded for it. Next, we uncover another hidden monopoly, one that controls